Friends, family, fans, welcome back to another episode of Back Nine Bets, baby. Episode 166. Who's the truest of them all? Mirror, mirror, tell us what's going on. If you look deeply enough into the eye or the ear of this leopard behind me, is this a leopard or a cheetah? I don't know. It looks like a leopard or a cheetah. I will get back to you on that. Super random, non-understanding situation there from me early in the show. But show's brought to you by DraftKings. Use code FGD when signing up as a first-time depositor. We appreciate your support in that department. It's Quail Hollow. It's the Truist, the Wells Fargo / the PGA Championship from last year. This golf course is the home of the PGA Championship, the home of the President's Cup, the home of now the Truist Championship, and basically Rory McIlroy's second home when he retires. So we're going to be diving into that. Got a fun show. I've placed 5 bets on 4 guys that we will go through, and then we're going to be taking a peek at some bets, go through the process that I go through usually. I haven't made too many placement bets. We're going to go through that process together, figure it out. I'm going to do it differently today because we are nice and clean shaven. I try to rock the stash, but it's just I need to clean the face up a little more and let the stash. It is what it is. New me, new stash, double chin, McGinn. Let's get a win with a double chin. All right, so moving on. I'm so sorry. Adrenaline is kicking in as the show started here. Can Cam Young do it again mentally? I don't know. We will discuss that. We will dive into it and go from there. Diving into it, baby. Let's go. All right. Everything you see on your screen, you can get in the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code QUAIL for 50% off your first month. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all of that stuff. Micro model time. For those of you that are unfamiliar with what is going on at this golf course, we are going to be taking a look at the micro model. You can see exactly what's cooking over here in this. What is going on over here? Where are these scores at gone? I thought I popped this in there. Anyway, we'll hide this one, go out of there, move forward. This golf course is 7,400 yards long, according to this thing. Yep. Par 4, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So basically what we're looking at here, 7,400 yard long hole golf course. We're looking at a par 71. It typically plays 1.1 strokes over par, hellish conditions. We are seeing average drivers of about 302 yards on this golf course, hitting the fairways about 57% of the time. This distance multiplier is the standard deviation between all drives over the last couple rounds of golf at this golf course. So that's what that situation is. And then green regulation rates are 60%. So pretty much a standard situation there. But I think the proximity rates at this golf course are significantly higher because you are hitting from further away. You're also hitting to very diabolically hard greens. And this golf course is very difficult because usually you're coming out of the rough about half the time, right? So we are trying to figure out who's doing what from where. And if we just take a look at Cameron Young's profile over here, I'm going to do the quick little drill down situation that you can see these key proximity buckets. There's 4 of them, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200, and 200 plus. How many shots are going to be coming from those ranges based off of these projections, given the driving distances, given the hole lengths, that kind of stuff? So Quail Hollow is looking at a lot of golf shots coming from 150 to 200 and 200 plus. That's basically the key metrics at this golf course. If you can thrive from there, you can survive from there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We're not looking for any wedges inside 150. We are looking entirely 150 and out. If you wanted to go over to this situation, you can see strokes gained approach and find everybody that you want to find from that range. Yes, strokes gained approach from 100 to 150. These are the worst names. These are the best names. Adam Scott, Siwoo Kim, Xander, Kurt, Matt Fitzpatrick, Victor. All of these kind of names obviously check a lot of boxes. Kurt Kitayama is one name that is inside the top 10 from 150 to 200 out the fairway. He's 4th. And then he's 2nd from 150 and out in the rough. So he is a very, very good golf course fit from an iron perspective at this venue. He's, strokes gained from 150 and in is 25th and 66th, inside of 100. So Kurt Kitayama going to be doing good things from these proximity ranges. The 200 plus is a bit worrisome, but he hits it quite far off the tee, so he should find himself in this 150 to 200 about 9 times this week. So that's that situation. He has some course finishing positions. If you're in the mood for that, who finished, Scotty Scheffler obviously finished first year last year. We've got all sorts of stuff for you guys as you're rolling through. You can take a quick peek. He has Rory McIlroy back in 2024. Xander Schauffele and Rory finished first and second. Obviously, third place not in the mix this week. You can kind of go through each one of these things. And then we want to take a look. We're going to actually use this for our first bet. Screw it. Right off the top rope, while I'm showing you guys all these different tabs, here are the best spike rounds at this golf course. And Jonathan Vegas gained 8.8 strokes in the first round of the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, roughly 11 months and 3 weeks ago. And it led the field. It's one of the best rounds at this golf course since 2021 in the 16 rounds that they have played here. So it is the best round that has been had, 8.8 strokes. Siwoo Kim and Max Homa both in round 2 gained 8.4 strokes of the PGA Championship. And then we've got a couple guys by the name of Rory McIlroy, Harris English, and Xander Schauffele who have gained over 7 strokes each. Rory and Xander have gained over 5.7, I believe, in at least, or 5.1, in 5.7, in at least 3 of their starts. They are really, really high-profile options, gaining significant amounts of golf strokes on the field at this golf course. So Jonathan Vegas with that massive first-round monster round. Let's say round one more time there, Byron. 8.8 strokes in the first round of the PGA Championship. He's 105-1 on DraftKings to lead after the first round. We are in on that. Bet 0.1 units, to win 10. So I'm in on Jonathan Vegas. Then we are looking at Jonathan Vegas for a top 5. If you go over to a different place, it rhymes with you can go and bet over there, and they pay our ties for the first round top 5 market, which is really nice. There's a 16 over there. DK's got a 20, but there's dead heats. So you can choose your poison. I like the 16 because if he finishes T5 with 3 other guys, we've seen how these leaderboards can clump up. Jonathan Vegas, top 5 over there, 16-1, 0.1 unit. Let's make those 1.6 units if he top 5s. Earn 1.5 units back, even if he doesn't first round leader. Get off to a good start. I fancy his chances. I really like Jonathan Vegas's course fit at a golf course like this. I'm not going to dive into his stats because they crap, but I do know that Jonathan Vegas is actually better. Let's take a look quickly at his round splits because we want to take a look at guys. If you're in the mood to do all of this stuff, you can see how many times they've played each specific round, all of that stuff if you unhide the stuff here. But basically, rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, rounds 2 to 4, and rounds 3 to 4. If you like looking to live add people after a specific round, after round 1, you can go over here. Okay, who has gained the most strokes on the field in rounds 2, 3, and 4 after round 1, right? Then if you go after round 2, you can say, okay, who's gained the most total strokes in rounds 3 and 4? Because you want to see some weekend golf. These are your guys. If you just want to go live add after round 3, you just go to round 4 stuff and see who's been balling out in round 4. But going to round 1, I want to see how far Jonathan, I haven't even looked at this. Let's see if we can find Vegas. Okay, so here's the thing with Jonathan Vegas. I'm going to do this, view, freeze, 1 row, boom, off we go. So Johnny Vegas, come on down. When it comes to round 1, round 2, round 3 for Jonathan Vegas, he's losing strokes in all 4 rounds. So 100-1, right? That's fair. His average strokes gained between all 4 of those rounds is half a stroke, 0.47, right? So that's what's going on over there. Johnny Vegas, though, in round 1 is like half a stroke better than his other rounds. This is just like the round he gets it done in is Jonathan Vegas in round 1. That's where we're going to be going. He is one of the longer drivers in the field when it comes to distance. We'll go back to the Maniac model over here and start dialing in on Johnny Vegas. By the way, if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit the little cog button or whatever that you want to make sure that you're watching this in 1080p. Don't be having your settings on advanced and having it auto because depending on your Wi-Fi, it may make the pixelation more blurry. I want you to see every bit of information on the screen. If you're listening, stop listening. Unless you're driving, then listen. Shout out Dennis. Or working out on the treadmill. But if you're not, get on the screen. Pull it up on YouTube. Watch it on YouTube because you're going to get way much more information when you're watching. You can just zone me out and just stare at the stuff on the screen. like I'm doing right now. If you don't want to listen to this, you can just zone out and take a look at what Rory McIlroy's got up to in the last 12 months finish rate wise, event history, recent finishes, blah, 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 blah. Now, enough of that Vamp City. Let's get into our guys. Vegas, Jonathan. Fun way to spell that. So we got one top 5 in the last 12 months. Who the hell knows where that was? Oh, guess where it was? It was at this golf course last year. He hung on for a top 5 at the PGA Championship. So shout out to him. Now, when it comes to Jonathan Vegas, we are looking at finishes of 18th at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. What is that golf course? A long driver heavy golf course. Finished 18th there. 14th at the Houston Open. Long driver heavy golf course. I fancied him at the Cadillac last week as well. He was 1 under par through about 7 holes and kind of drifted backwards. So that is what it is with Jonathan Vegas' situation. But I fancy him quite a lot in these longer golf course venues. If we take a look at what Johnny Vegas has got up to on the various scoring conditions, hellish conditions are his best situation. What typically happens in hellish conditions? You need elite drivers of the golf ball. You need really good long iron play because a lot of those difficult golf courses that have hellish conditions are typically longer golf courses. He is one of these guys. If you just take a look at distance, he's got some distance off the tee. He's above average in green irregulation rates, and he's slightly below average in strokes gained off the tee. But he is a lot of distance over here. 2026 needs a Ricky Fowler week more than anything. I've got a Ricky bet for you guys, by the way. So hang tight for that. So as you can see here, he's actually been struggling as the year's gone along. The last 12 months, he's actually gained 0.1 strokes on the field. In the last 8, he's lost a couple. Last 4, lost a couple. And then in the last 2 months, he's actually lost almost a stroke to the field every single time he plays. So as you can see with the round stuff, this is a nice little situation for you to visualize how his round by round situation goes, as we've spoken about already. So Jonathan Vegas, round 1 leader, round 1 top 5. Off we go. Bob's your uncle. We're going to take a look here at one and done portion. Would you love to know how Mary I need to make up good ground, please? Okay. So you need some Hail Mary picks. Maybe I'll just fire them out as I'm going through names. But Jonathan Vegas, first round leader, first round top 5. Go check them out at the various books I mentioned at the beginning of the segment over here for Johnny V. Next up, we're going to just dive right into it. Xander Schauffele, friends. I've bet this man at 12-1. We dropped that in the Model Maniac Patreon, or 13-1. I think if you're a fan of the duels, you can go grab that when I dropped that in the Discord, but I think there's 11.5-1 now. Xander Schauffele, number 2 in the model. Xander Schauffele finding himself with second place finishes at this golf course in 2023 and 2024. And in those years, believe it or not, Xander Schauffele beat third place by 3 shots both years. 3 shots he beat third place by. Yet Wyndham Clark beat him by 4 in 2023 and Rory McIlroy beat him by 6 in 2024. So he's a victim of some variance, some bad luck, but also this at the point in time we were making a lot of assessments that Xander just can't seem to close doors. Again, second place finish here in 2024. He then went on to win 2 majors after that. So as you see in the event history, very impressive stuff. It is the second best course history. If you want to take a look at the player summary tab over here, we can find Xander Schauffele. By the way, Patrick Cantley was my stat fish of the week for those of you that care about that kind of thing. We're going to be taking a peek, see at Xander Schauffele's last couple situations. We don't need Bermuda putting this week, so don't worry about that. It's Poetriv Overseed, which I'm still working on getting into the model. But just from a ball striking perspective, he's going to be second in the field in strokes gained off the tee. He's top 10 in the field in driving distance. 2 very important situations for me. Total strokes gained approach for this golf course coming from the micro model is 5th in the field. Strokes gained off the tee plus strokes gained approach, ball striking essentially, he's 3rd in the field. He does a lot of good work from 150 to 200. He's actually been struggling a little bit with the longer irons in 2026. The same thing goes for Rory McIlroy. You don't want Xander at a wedge fest. 100 to 150, he's bottom of the field. Remember, there are 72 people in this field. 36 of that is halfway. There's not a single ranking here from 150 to 1. I guess strokes gained wise there is, but it's all just red. You feel me? So I'm kind of lying to you, but I'm also not. It's not very good for Xander inside that range. It's very good from 150 and out. So Let's see what Xander does. He avoids a lot of poor shots from that 200 plus range. If we're taking a look at strokes gained out the rough from 150 and beyond, he's 15th in the field as well. So we'll see what Xander can do. I'm fancying him in hard scoring conditions. You know, his top finish rates over the last 12 months. He's sixth in the field when it comes to top 10 rates. He's fifth in the field when it comes to top 20 rates. He's also number one in top 30 rates, which you can't be going to. You know, if you want to take a look at Xander Schauffele in the top 30 market, it's kind of gross. You know, you're not really going to be doing that. I also don't have an ad for DraftKings this week, so I'm just going to be using their screen a lot to kind of pump that stuff out there. Hopefully that saves my bacon because I messed up a little bit. Xander's minus 400 for a top 30. You can do a little parlay action because they've got this wonderful 20% boost if you're in the mood for that. I do have a bet for you, actually, that you can get in on. I popped that in the Model Maniac Patreon Discord earlier. Here's the Maniac betting chat over here. If you want a Xander Schauffele, Rory McIlroy, Matt Fitzpatrick top 20 parlay, you can go. You get those with the dead heats. I'd expect all of these guys to be right in the mix, not really flirting with the top 20. That hopefully doesn't come back to bite us, but you can get up to $20 out there with a 20% boost. So instead of plus 250, that's a plus 300 ticket for Xander, Fitz, and Rory to all finish top 20. If we go over to the Maniac, we can go to the finishing position tab. I've got a tab, like for every section of the Maniac model, there's a tab with even more details. So those of you that use this tool, be sure that you go check these other tabs if you're deep diving stuff, because you can see, okay, how many times have they played in the last 12 months? How many times have they won? How many times have they blah, you know? So you can see all of that. If we want to go top 30 rates, you can see Xander Schauffele is going to pop up at the top. Rory's going to pop up at the top for top 20 rates. So Rory and Fitz, top in the field over the last 12 months with top 20s. Then we're going to dive into Xander at 58% over there. If you want to go with a Ricky Fowler at 59% top 20 rate, you can do that. Add that in. You switch him out for one of those guys, it will definitely increase the odds because Ricky Fowler is plus money for a top 20s. Plus 130 at DraftKings for a top 20 this week. We are looking at Ricky Fowler hard. I spoke about Xander enough. I think we all understand, there's not too much to explain here. When I take a look at this betting board, though, how I decided who's going to win this tournament betting-wise this week, I took a look at my model rankings, which line up exactly with the odds boards, except Cam Young is not fourth. He's second in odds. The model's not fancying Cam Young that much, given the fact that, he's lost... he's very, very good off the tee, but he's typically a little worrisome around the greens. The par 5 scoring's a bit lackluster, that kind of stuff. But one of these four guys, in my opinion, is going to win this tournament this week. Rory, Xander, Fitz, and Cameron Young. And when I say Fitz, it's Matt Fitzpatrick, because we've also got Alex Fitzpatrick playing in the field this week as a PGA Tour member now, with the top 10 on the Cadillac Championship last week. Shout out to him. But one of these guys is going to win this tournament of the four. Rory is priced at 6-1. That's single bullet range. Cameron Young was 8-1, which is also basically single bullet range plus a long shot if you're in the mood. Fitzy and Xander, you can put both on the card. Now, Xander Schauffele, 13-1. That was a nice number there. You can still grab it at 11.5-1. I would absolutely be in the mood for that because Fitz's number's gone the other way. So you can still bet them both at very similar numbers to what I got them. So, as always, I've got CLV for you, baby. Whether or not these guys are going to win, we'll see. But I think Matt Fitzpatrick at 13-1 is definitely going to be in the mix as well. So we've bet the Xander situation. He's one of the names. Fitz is the other. Fitz is third in the field in the micro model ranking, which is AKA course fit. How does this golfer's game fit this course based off the different approach buckets, based off the amount of times they hit fairways, based off the amount of times they hit greens? We're kind of using every single hole's specific DNA to determine on a hole-by-hole level who's going to do the greatest. So if you're looking at these micro model rankings, Matt Fitzpatrick and Xander Schauffele are the top 3 best course fits this week for me. And Siwoo Kim is number 1. He was number 1 at the Cadillac Championship last week as well, and he finished 4th over there. He's playing some very good golf as well. very good chance we're throwing a top 20 on Siwoo Kim when we get to that portion of the show. We will see. Matt Fitzpatrick, if you take a look at strokes gained approach from a player summary standpoint, let's go over to Fitz's stuff, see what he gets up to. Matt Fitzpatrick, click his name over here. So course history, we have got, I don't have any things in here because this was from the Cadillac. I will update that. So that's fun stuff. But if you take a look at Fitz's last 12 months or last while of golf, these are his strokes gained. For the last 2 years, he was gaining 1.3 strokes. For the last 12 months, he was gaining 2 strokes. 8 months, 2 strokes. Last 4 months, 2.3 strokes. The last 2 months, 2.7 strokes. The last month, 2.9 strokes. So he's peaking hard, and he's peaking duck, and I want it. I want it drizzled with delightful, yummy sauce and seasoning all over Matt Fitzpatrick. The last couple months, he hasn't gained strokes that have fit outside the top 4 in this field. You know, the worst he's played has been strokes gained where he would have had the 4th most strokes gained in this field. You know, he is inside the top 40 more than anybody in this field. He's a very safe golfer. Inside the top 20, only one person, Rory, is inside the top 20 more than him. His best scoring conditions are hellish conditions. He gains the 2nd most total strokes in hellish conditions. If you're in the mood for that, we just saw strokes gained at this golf course. 94% of rounds have been hellish conditions. There's been a couple that are medium and hard, but a very small fraction. When it comes to strokes gained off the tee, Fitz is 8th in the field off the tee, 7th in accuracy, which is actually really impressive given the fact that he's middle of the pack in driving distance. So he's got the distance, kind of, but he's at least very, very accurate. So that driving combination is going to have you top 10 in this field. He's the 6th best strokes gained approach in this field at Quail Hollows specifically, and he's 4th total in ball striking. So this is over the last 12 months. He's playing very good now. We know this. He's just won the RBC Heritage for the 2nd time. He almost won the Players. He's also just won the Zurich with his brother. He's had an 8th place finish at this golf course last year at the PGA Championship. Let's see what Fitzy can do for us. From a proximity and, you know, distance on approach situation, he's 23rd in the field in strokes gained from 200 plus, but he's 6th in the field from 150 to 200. Very important range this week. Again, remember, we are seeing those kind of things from him. So I really fancy this bucket from him over here. And he's not necessarily the greatest out the rough from 150 and beyond, but again, he's 7th in the field in driving accuracy. So he's usually inside the fairway more than the field. So I fancy his chances from that situation. 6th in the field from 150 to 200 in strokes gained out the fairway. And he's also top 10 in the field in proximity and green regulation rates from 200 plus out the fairway. Not necessarily gaining as many strokes, but at this golf course, you are just trying to hit the greens from those distances. Hard greens, sometimes you're coming out the rough, sometimes you're on the fairway. It's important to make sure that you are having birdie putts no matter how long they are. Michael Kim mentioned he's working on lag putting, his driver, and shots from 175 and beyond. So we've got that 150 and beyond over here. We like a big bucket. It gives you a bigger sample size. Maybe I can dial in some nuanced, smaller buckets over there. But we're taking a look at Fitzy, 8th place here last year, 2nd, 1st, 18th, and 1st are his last 4 starts. That doesn't even include the RBC Heritage. So guy's looking for his freaking 4th win in 5 starts. That's like insane, you know. So whether or not that happens, I don't know. But he's making winning a habit right now. He's playing very good golf. This is a perfect course fit. Matt Fitzpatrick, 16. I think you can find a 17-1 out there at some spots. Is that going to be the case for us? Yeah. Tournament winner, Matt Fitzpatrick, 17-1. There you have it. So you can get Xander at basically 12 and Fitz at 17. So those are your 2 guys you can dive into to win this tournament. Those are my 2 outrights. My one and done is Rory. I've hit the 2 winners for the last 2 one and dones, RBC Heritage and the Cadillac, Cam Young and Fitzy. So I'm sitting in 205th place now in one and done. So I think I'm just going to go with Rory again. And I've kind of gone with guys that have checked boxes. I think Cam checked all the boxes, all 6 of them last week at the Cadillac. And I think Fitz checked all 6 of them at the RBC Heritage. I can't remember exactly, but he was definitely up there for box checking. This week, Rory and Xander check all 7 boxes. So for those of you unfamiliar with the boxes, we are checking hellish scoring, micro model ranking, aka course fit, strokes gained over the last 2 months, who's playing good right now, strokes gained off the tee. It's the first domino to fall at this golf course. If you are dominant off the tee, everything else is going to work out for you. Total finish rates, wins, top 5s, and top 10s. Model ranking. The basically taking all of these percentages across the board over here as we're cruising through it. You can see all of that stuff. I'll actually pull up for you. Dive into the Discord one more time and show you. I popped that in the research station for us. So these are the model rankings for me. Did I put it in here somewhere? But yes, the medium, hard, and hellish conditions, 92% of the time. You can see that. Where the heck did I put the... Oh, it was in a thread. Let me go over to that quickly. I'm totally messing around, but we're having some fun. Go check out this thread on Twitter at the Model Maniac. I've got all sorts of fun stuff for you guys over there. Here we go. Okay, this is the thread we want. We're taking a look at the model rankings for ourselves. These are the model rankings. This is how we are essentially divvying up the different situations. We got 5% for top 5 rate. We got 5% for top 10 rate. 15% for strokes gained at Quail Hollow over the last 4 events at this venue. They didn't play here, I don't think, in 2022. 5% for strokes gained on hard conditions, which is like half a stroke to even par scoring average each day. Then 15% for hellish conditions, when scoring averages each day are over par. That's that. Strokes gained off the tee, just mentioned. That's something I'm looking for. 5% there. And then distance. If you got juice off the tee, yeah, you can miss fairways and still dominate with Bomber's Paradise. Exactly. Brad Hop knows the job here. So we are looking for distance and strokes gained off the tee, and then just course fits. You know, we got basically 30% from the micro model coming into the model over here. Then I want 10% for the last 4 months of strokes gained, and then 15% for the last 2 months of strokes gained. The last 4 months of strokes gained is basically 2026. So this year. That's the situation. Go check out this tool. I basically kind of ran through all the various, you know, buckets that these guys are checking. Xander and Rory, we both check 6, 7 boxes. Course history is very, very sticky. If we go back to the course history thing here, you can see, where is it here? I don't have it. I got it in the Discord. I got information all over the place. Here's the course history at Quail Hollow. This is Augusta. And when we say that Augusta is in its tier of its own, this makes sense now to you, right? So I don't know what this is. Maybe it's like Quail Hollow. No, this is Quail Hollow. Maybe that's like Murfield Village or something like that. Or is it the Wyndham Championship, which is typically towards the end of the season? I don't know. Whatever. What I'm trying to describe to you is there's not a lot of venues that have better, stickier course history than Quail Hollow. These places that are slightly above the green line here are like Riviera, Murfield Village, those kind of RBC Heritage, Harbour Town, those kind of venues, very sticky places. Quail Hollow is right up there with them in the tier B underneath Augusta tier A. So making sure that you got good course history is very important. You can go and take a look. These are the guys that have gained the most strokes in the course history over the last 4, right? So you're seeing some names. Corey Connors is right up there in strokes gained course history, but he doesn't have a top 5 at this golf course. Multiple guys. Matt Wallace up there doesn't have a top 5. He's got a 6th, a 17th, and a missed cut. There are some names. Bradley over the last 4. He's got an 18th, a 21st, a 35th, and an 18th, but he's very, very consistent when it comes to finishes at Quail Hollow. So that's the situation there. Shout out Jonathan Vegas again. He's got that one lone top 5 in the PGA Championship, and then 43rd back in 2021 when he was probably playing better golf, if we're being honest with ourselves over here. So that's the situation there. Course fit stuff. I mean, we're just diving into random boxes right now. I'm getting completely distracted, but there's Siwoo for you again. Back to what we were talking about, okay? Boxes, Ricky Fowler. We need a Ricky Fowler week. Chad Candles, I've got you, my brother. By the way, awesome submission to Pete Overset's So You Think You Can Tout. I totally believe that the only reservation they had with you was your lack of backbone / vigor when it comes to getting into it with somebody online. I'm very assured that you will politely put people in their place with very good, concise, analytical bullets that make sense. So congrats to you on a very good submission. Go crush that wonderful contest, my friend. All right, so Ricky Fowler. We just filtered by top 20 rates. Ricky Fowler finds himself sitting here with one box checked. I would imagine that box that we checked was scrolling across here. Is it hellish conditions? No, it's going to be the micro model rank of 9th in the field. So we're getting a Ricky Fowler top 10 good projection for this venue. That's the only box he checked. One box, the orange numbers. Red is 0 boxes. Orange is 1. And then if you got a black box over here, green background, then you're checking all of them. So that's Rory and Xander. Ricky's checking only 1, but he's 15th in the model. So you're not that far behind despite only checking 1 box. You need a top 10 to check a box. This is a very good field. Hard to check those top 10s. He's a very well-rounded golfer right now. If we take a look at Ricky Fowler's top 20 percentage, it's 59%. We can find a Ricky Fowler on DraftKings for plus 130 if you want some dead heats. There's a spot out there where we place the Johnny Vegas first-round leader, top 5. I don't know if you heard that one, but we're going to go the black and gold place where you can find a top 20 at plus 115 pace ties in full. So you are not getting negative 105 or minus 110. You are getting plus 115 for ties paid in full. And there's other books that have plus 130s for dead heated top 20s. Ricky Fowler, top 20, 60% of the time. Is he the new Sex Panther? Because Russell Henley let us down last week at the Cadillac. We would have had a profitable week if Russell Henley just top 20'd. We would have had a profitable week if Aldrich Potgieter just top 10'd. He finished 14th by 1 shot. We would have had a 3.2 unit hit on Aldrich's top 10, and we bet 0.3 units. It was a 3.5 unit swing. We cashed our Cam Young top 10, 2-unit play for 2.5 units last week as well. So I'll be popping those into the bet summary tab, bet tracker tab as we go along. I've got a little behind since the RBC Heritage. It is what it is. We've kind of broken even each week. So Ricky Fowler, you can grab that plus 115 and you can go do that. We've got a 9th, an 8th, and a 9th in his last 6 starts. I love that. A couple miscuts here at the Houston and Valero. The Houston, this was the week Tiger Woods' news came out. And I don't want to say that Ricky Fowler goes as Tiger Woods goes, but I do imagine that he's very good friends with the man. I think they played TGL together. He's kind of part of that generation with Justin Thomas that kind of looked up to Tiger. Excuse me. By the way, this flavor of Waterloo, it is Waterloo coconut lime flavor. Delightful flavoring. Love this flavor. So if you're in the mood for like seltzer waters, 0 sugars, calories, all of that jazz, and you're in the mood for coconut lime, this is the one. Back to Ricky Fowler getting hung up about Tiger Woods. Looks up to the man. He missed the 2 cuts here, kind of out of nowhere. And I bet Ricky Fowler at the Houston for top 20. And he was inside the top 20, I think, or top 30 after round 1. And as a result, I think once the Tiger Woods news came out, he just unraveled because it came out while he was on the golf course. He hit like 8 irons into the water that wasn't even in play. Just epic meltdown. So Valero, he missed the cut as well. I think there was a lot going on in his life mentally with Tiger. We are now back. RBC Heritage Cadillac, 2 top 10s. If you're in the mood for a top 10 bet as well, he's got 3 of them in the last couple. He's a very interesting name. He's got 0 top 5s in the last 12 months, but he's inside the top 10, 1 in every 4 starts, and inside the top 20, 6 of every 10 starts. So Ricky's giving you some really good floor. I don't think you're looking for Ricky as a high upside play. Like I don't think I'll be playing him in DFS at 9,000 flat. I think I'll be playing him as a bet, top 20. Like we've said, 1 unit on him at plus 115. This is now a seltzer pod. So maybe we'll have to bust out a different flavor every week, Jim Cummings. By the way, those of you, I'm just shouting out all of you guys in the chat here. Jim Cummings and Tom and Marty's on X do a preview show right after the Sunday tournament ends, and they preview what's going on. DraftKings has the odds out. The boys go over everything over there. Go check out their stuff on Jim Cummings and Tom and Marty's Twitter accounts. Back to the Seltzer Pod. Ricky Fowler, maybe we can call him Quail Hollow, Ricky Fowler. You know, he's got some decent, I think he's won here once or twice. He hasn't been playing the greatest golf over the stretch. I think 2023 was when he won the Rocket Mortgage that year, and he rattled off just 1 million top 20s, and he knocked out a top 20 over year 2023 as well. So I fancy Ricky Fowler in the top 20 market this week. Great course fit, all of that jazz. Let's go. Ricky, Jonathan Vegas, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Rory McIlroy are the bets that we've made. So that concludes this portion of the show for bets that I've made already. We are now going to dive into a couple top 10 situations, a couple top 20 situations, seeing how that goes. I'm interested in Cam Young because can he do it again mentally? He's fourth in the model. It makes complete sense at this golf course. My one true reservation about Cam Young is he is looking for his first top 30 around Quail Hollow. He's had a 59th, a 34th, and a 47th at this golf course. So the course history is bumping him to fourth in the field behind Rory, Xander, and Fitz, because all of them have better course history than him. Even Fitz, struggled at this golf course, kind of going 0.7 strokes, but it's better than Cam Young's 0.1 in those 12 rounds. So I don't know how that's going to work out for him. But again, I don't think he's had great success at RBC Heritage, and he had a 25th place finish over there. So that's what's cooking in that department, despite Cam Young's other finishes not being worse than third. We've got 2 wins and 2 third place finishes, one of them being at the Masters. Maybe he's just playing way better than he has in the past, and as a result will succeed at this golf course. But again, course history quite sticky here. Can the putter translate? Because what he does is putt. He's one of the better putters in this field. And again, this is over the last 12 months. He's really found his groove with the putter lately. And tons of distance, but struggles around the green a little bit. That's typically what happens on the par fives, is if you leave yourself in bad spots. Cam Young, I think Ron Kloss mentioned that Cam was dead last in birdie or better percentages on the par fives at the Cadillac and won by 6 strokes. Got his score on the par fives this week. Cam Young, in his PGA Tour career, I think starting in 2021, he's only had 1 year, and it was long ago, where he was inside the top 50 in par 5 scoring. He's outside the top 50 in par 5 scoring this year, despite having 4 finishes in the last 5 starts that were third, first. So he's just doing it. I don't know. Like, he's taking the hard way, because par 5s is where you make eagles and birdies, but Cam Young don't do that because he just doesn't know what to do on a par 5. He walks on there and just falls apart. So interesting how he plays well in hellish conditions. His easy scoring conditions, not the greatest. That's where you make all the birdies on the par 5s, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Cam Young, I think we'll leave him alone a little bit in this department. Top 10 ways. Tommy Fleetwood comes up over the last 12 months with a 50% top 10 rate. I don't know about Tommy Fleetwood. He's kind of had 2 top 10s in the last 6 starts, an 8th and a 10th. He's kind of, what did Cuss call him? Tommy Not Elitewood? I called him Tommy Driftwood. He's kind of just drifting through life right now, having a good time. No clothing sponsors, shopping in pro shops, having a blast. He plays well in hellish conditions. Makes a lot of sense. He's very sharp around the greens, keeps his ball in play, all of that stuff, 10th in the micro model rank. But again, Tommy Fleetwood's recent form is kind of dwindling. We are seeing in the last 2 months, he's gained 1.3 strokes only. Everyone around him with such a high top 10 rate is 1.5 or above. Sepp Straka is the first guy who's really struggling as well this year with some inconsistencies. So that's what you're kind of getting in this department from Tommy Fleetwood. He checks the 5 boxes. Again, I run most of my stuff for like a 12-month period. He had a fantastic 2025. I don't know if those of you know this. It's middle of the May of 2026. So we're going to need better recent results from Mr. Fleetwood if we're looking to go to him there. But maybe his ownership is a little single digity, and then you kind of get fidgety, and then you throw some Tommy Fleetwood in the mix. So decide what you want to do there. I don't think I'll be playing Tommy Fleetwood in DFS that much or betting him top 10. Rory McIlroy, from a top 10 perspective, we're just going to be looking at him from a one and done. That's our one and done this week. I will still be getting to Goes Cards, Charles, about your one and done sneaky Hail Mary. In fact, let's get ADD'd over here and get a complete tangential. If we're looking at a model ranking one and done over here, Rory McIlroy, numero uno in the model Maniac power rankings, he's number 1, and his one and done event leverage is number 3 for him. If we take a look at what's going on over here, this one and done tool basically takes the average rank of a golfer's course history at a golf course versus the other golfers. And then it also takes a golfer's course history at this venue versus his other courses that he plays that year. So you're trying to find, okay, how does your golfer do versus other golfers, and how does he do versus himself? Because you don't want to be taking a golfer at a golf course that he plays well at versus everybody else, but it's not nearly as well as another place that he plays very well at, kind of thing. So if you understand what I'm saying there. If you're taking a look at Rory McIlroy, like some twos that come out, Wells Fargo's 2.5, Canadian Open is 2, US Open is 2. If you're looking at other names across the board here for Rory, Arnold Palmer Invitational is 1.5. He loves that golf course. So those are some really good leverage spots for Rory. I think this is the week we're going to go to Rory McIlroy in one and done. We're getting a 3 for Wells Fargo Championship course history, and then we're getting a model ranking of number 1 in the field. No Scotty Scheffler this week. Rory is 6-1, the tournament favorite by a decent chunk. Let's see what he can do over there for us. So as you can see, these have been my one and done picks over the last little while. We can take a look here. Rory is the first guy, so I think we're going to be popping him in here. We are going to do Rory McIlroy. Cameron Young was last week at the Cadillac, which I don't have course history for and any of that stuff. So he's in the mix. Shout out Patrick Reed, who kind of just sucked it up at the Masters as well. But that's your situation for Rory. I think I'll be playing him since I'm in the money now. So I can play some chalk. I'm not looking to get super controversial with my picks. We'll see there. But if we're looking for a sneaky couple one and done Hail Marys, some guys that can make, like Alex Smalley potentially is checking out quite nicely for you. Yeah, Goats Cards. I think he's someone that makes a bit of sense. He's had some decent results lately. If we take a look at Alex Smalley, oh boy, I've got to go all the way. We're jumping all over the place here. Okay. Taking our time, doing our thing, Maniac rank. Let's find Smalley quickly for you, just to make sure that we kind of giving you the correct information. Alex Smalley, I have ranked as my 12th ranked golfer in the field. If we take a look at the model one and done tool, he's 12th in there. And then his event leverage is 17th because Alex Smalley plays really good golf here. This ain't the Amex, which he's got a 9th at over there for Alex Smalley. If we go over to the Wells Fargo, 17th, the Canadian Open, 14th. You're not seeing too many yellow boxes for Alex Smalley, which are all top 20 rankings. Again, these are against everybody that's ever played at this golf course, so you're seeing rankings of like 169, things like that. It's because a lot of people have played there. Matt Wallace, 206 people, 206 at the Farmers kind of thing. But Alex Smalley, Goes Cards, I think he's absolutely in the mix for you. Where is Harris? Why is Harris English? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I totally didn't have this thing scrolled correctly. But Alex Smalley is very sneaky. Very sneaky. Harris English is obviously sneaky as well. I kind of fancy Harris English in majors. But I think I've got a Scotty Scheffler left, which I think I'm going to be used at Memorial at Murfield Village. Harris English, top 10s. I mean, he's sitting in the same kind of boxes as Rory and Xander. And if you take a look at Harris English's situation, we are looking, you can go course history. He'll pop up pretty quickly, I'd imagine, for us. So our first one and done is Alex Smalley, sneaky for you. There goes. Then we can take a look at some course history for these guys. All of these names with like a gray charcoal background are debutantes. Wright and Goddard, Blanchet, Fitzpatrick, Alex, Yalamaraju, Porchita, and Castillo, all looking to make their debut at this golf course. Quail Hollow, you know, we're not looking at Truist Championships. We're looking at Quail Hollow. So Harris English shows up here 5th in strokes gained. We've got a 14th, a 5th, a 13th. I'm lying to you. A 43rd, a 3rd, a 34th, and a 2nd at the PGA Championship last year. That was his first second of 2 in majors. We had a 2nd place at the Open Championship as well, I believe. So Harris English in majors for me is very tempting, but I do think he's not a terrible option this week to go to him as a relatively leveraged play. Harris English's odds this week are 50-1. You know, so if you're looking for Harris English to get involved, if I didn't have the 2 super juggernaut guys at the top of my board, I was probably clicking Ben Griffin, Nikolai Højgaard, Harris English, Gary Woodland. I don't know if I trust Alex Smalley to win a signature event, but again, you're looking for sneaky, there's sneaky. I do trust Harris English to win a golf tournament, though, and they very similar price range over here. Jacob Bridgman at 70-41. What is he doing? Is he going to return back to the form we saw to start the year, or is he going to have like a post-Masters slump? I don't know. He just kind of struggled since the Masters. Corey Connors is 90-1. You know, he's got some really solid course history for you if you're looking from that situation. Again, you know, one and done leverage situation is a top 10 thing for him, but he's only 23rd in the model ranking this week. So kind of finding your groove. You can use this tool to determine your one and done guys, how you go. You know, you can keep track of them, who you've gone with, all of that stuff. I've got so many cool tools for you guys in the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code Quail26 for 50% off your first month. And in fact, while we do this, I'm going to take a quick, I was trying to do a quick giveaway, but we'll figure that out at a later point. So Alex Smalley, Harris English, not terrible options for one and dones. Corey Connors in the mix there. Adam Scott potentially could be a guy you want to take a look at. Like I said, I don't trust Ricky Fowler to top 5. You need a top 5 in one and done. You know, like top 10s are just not going to get it done for you. I jumped a million spots with just 2 wins. You got to have upside, like high-end upside. So if we're taking a look at that, we can go over to the finishing position rates and see, okay, who's got the most top 5s this year in the last 12 months? Tommy Fleetwood, Cameron Young, Rory McIlroy, Siwoo Kim, Christopher Wrighton had a lot of top 5s on the DP World Tour. Bobby Mack, Pearson Coody, Nikolai Højgaard, Matt Fitzpatrick, Ludwig Oberg, Sepp Straka, Ben Griffin, and Jacob Bridgman, all in the last 12 months have 5+ top 5s. If we're taking a look at them, we are all guys that have 25% top 5 rates. It's Cam Young, Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Sepp Straka. Finishing inside the top 5, 1 in every 4 starts over the last 12 months. All of them have 20+ starts. Not necessarily the biggest sample size compared to like Pearson Coody with 34 starts over that stretch. A couple of them have multiple wins as well. You know, Wrighton played some good golf on the DP World Tour, and Christopher Wrighton is actually checking some boxes for us, by the way. So we've got some names. Victor Hovland's also very interesting at this venue, but it is what it is. Moving back to top 10s. We were trying to find some top 10 bets as we were going through this with, I guess this is why I don't do this on the shows, because I get super distracted every single time. Bobby Mack's kind of struggling a little bit lately. I don't know what's going on with him. Postmasters after finishing second at the Valero. Granted, Bobby Mack. This is the situation with Bobby Mack. Checking 4 of 7 boxes this week, which is a reasonable amount. If we want to sort by color, we can start with the 4-box guys. We can sort by color, go to the 5-box guys. Sort by color, we can go to the 6-box guys. And then we can sort by color and go to the 7-box guys. And there's not that, oops, I went the wrong way. Those are the 3-box guys. We got to go with sort by color text black. So Bobby Mack he's only got 5 other guys that have checked more boxes than him, but he's ranked 18th in the model. So it depends how you want to interpret this data. Because if we kind of scroll across here for Bobby Mack, we can actually go to his player summary tab and take a look here. Robert McIntyre. Hellish conditions, he's fantastic in. Let's take a look and see what boxes are being checked here. Strokes gained over the last 4 months, he's up there. I think the last 2 months he might be a little behind. Top 10 percentage rate, he's inside the top 10. This week, Hal scoring, he's inside the top 10 there. He doesn't gain any top 10 rankings when it comes to ball striking or distance off the tee this week. But other options for him, the last month he's struggled a bit, but the last 2 months he's inside the top 10 in this field in strokes gained total. Finish rates over the last 12 months. Top 10 rates. He's 5th in the field. Bobby Mack finishes inside the top 10 quite a lot. Obviously, we have this filtered by top 10s. If we're taking a look at scoring conditions, hellish conditions, he's top 10 in that field. If we're taking a look at proximity buckets, he's 70th in the field from strokes gained 200 plus. He's 68th in the field from 150 to 200. Like, his iron play has actually got really poor strokes gained wise, despite having really good proximity numbers. So when you are top 5 in proximity from 150 to 200 out of the fairway, but you're gaining the 68th most strokes out of a 72-man field from the same distance, it means that you are not hitting a lot of good shots and you're hitting a lot of poor shots as well. Now, proximity can still be near to the hole, but you can be in a bad spot. I don't know if proximity counts if you miss if you're 30 feet away in the rough versus 35 feet on the green. I don't know if that counts or not, but you can hit yourself into really bad positions and lose a lot of strokes in that department. So maybe he needs to kind of figure out his stuff. But overall, poor shot avoidance for Bobby Mack has been pretty bad, unless you're coming out of the rough inside 150. I don't know. It's a very interesting profile. I think the iron play is a concern. Let's take a quick look here. I'm going to take a look at Bobby Mack's iron play. 52 minutes into the show. Hit that like, hit the subscribe, people. Use code FGD when signing up at DraftKings. It's been only 3 weeks of golf where Robert McIntyre has gained strokes on approach this year. He's gained off the tee pretty much every single week. He's gained putting every single week. He's basically gained around the greens every single week. But the iron play has been bad. If you want to take a look at his iron play over the last 150 to 200 over the last 2 years, it's been quite poor. Over the last 12 months, it's been quite poor. And it's even worse this year. It's very bad in 2026. So that's concerning. The further away you go, it's a bad situation for Robert McIntyre. This proximity thing is fascinating to me. He's 77th percentile proximity, but 26th percentile strokes gained from over 150 out of the rough. Fascinating development here with Robert McIntyre. Do we love the fact that he's got 4 boxes checked? Yes. Do we hate the fact that he's 18th in the model? Also, yes. I don't know. What are we doing with Bobby Mack? What's Jim say here? Let's not forget about you in Sweet Spot on Sunday nights. Such an awesome content this past week in Great Tilt. The tilt was a problem. The hat is still there. There's the hat on the thing. This is the new studio. So hat is what have I done? What have I done? Look what you've done to me, Jim. No. Okay. Back on track. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate those wonderfully kind words. It was fun. You know, Scotty Scheffler, I know Kenny mentioned that you want to play him in cut events where it kind of gives you a bit more leverage. But again, like getting those 6 guys through, the 3 of them being 6K guys is hard. You know, I think that almost helps you in non-signet. I don't know. Who the hell knows? I just think we can leave Scotty Scheffler a little bit alone. Maybe play him in the betting markets a bit more. So Robert McIntyre, ay caramba. You know, what are we doing, people? Come, someone help me in the chat here. Where are we going with Robert McIntyre? Are we trusting the boxes? Are we trusting the model ranking of 18th? You know, because everyone that checks 5 plus boxes of the 7 is inside the top 5. Robert McIntyre checks 4 of the 7 boxes, and he's not good. So that's the situation we're still monitoring. Jake Knapp has a sensational top 10 rate. He did not play the Cadillac Championship. We're going to wait for our boy at Flag Hunting on X to share us a Jake Knapp update, because Jake withdrew from the Cadillac while he was practicing out there with a bandage on his hand. That's not good a week later. I don't know. We'll see. Christopher Wrighton, we were mentioning him earlier. 10th at the Valero and 14th at the Cadillac. Starting to find his groove. I think he was inside the top 3 at one point after a round at the Cadillac. He's a very good golfer. He checks 2 boxes for us with the 31% top 10 rates. So totally kind of getting confusion. Let's dive into the top 20s. I don't think I'm fancying too many guys top 10 situation here. Top 20s is where it's at. I'm not going to be betting any of these guys except for Ricky Fowler, where we got some plus money odds on the top 20 situation there. Plus 115 at Belgium. You can grab that there with ties paid in full, or plus 130 with dead heats at DraftKings. Tommy Fleetwood, Siwoo Kim. So Siwoo Kim is interesting to me when it comes to this top 20 situation, because the ball striking is just way too good. It gives him such a nice floor. But the problem with Siwoo Kim is the putter. And when the putter disappears on him, he can hemorrhage strokes. And he's minus 138 if you're looking at that situation there. So I don't know if I'm a fan, if I fancy that number. What is he if you take without the ties paid in full? Siwoo Kim, minus 112. It's not terrible. You can, shop around a little bit. What was I trying to do here? 56% of the time he's inside the top 20. He's finished inside the top 20 at this golf course the last 2 starts. He's finished inside the top 20 in 4 of his last 6. Are we being oddsist? We're being American oddsist. If these were just percentages and 50% was there, or 55% was there at the minus 114, or 53%, I need to figure out my percentages related to odds a bit better. But at minus 112, I'm actually going to do a quick little snoop around here quickly to see if there's another place that might have a better number for us in the top 20 market on this man. Because if we can get a plus money number there, I'm in. I am truly in on Siwoo Kim in this situation. Number 1 in the course fit model. You can't pass that up. Minus 125 there. So Siwoo Kim, and those have all been high-end finishes. 3 of the last 4 have been top 10s. What are we doing here, friends? Do we just take the top 20 at minus 112? I think we have to. You can't grade out this well. You're 6th in the model. You've got great course history. You've got great form. You've got a great course fit. I think I'm going to pull the trigger on a Siwoo Kim top 20 at minus 112 at DraftKings. What's that? 61 to 150, 55, almost 56. There we go. So $56 to win 50 back for Siwoo Kim. We'll pop that in there once we're done with the show. Officially happening, Siwoo Kim. I think I also saw Brad Thomas place this bet as well. We're going to take that dead heats over there, be a little snooty. What do we have to lay on a Siwoo Kim minus 138 bet? That's probably going to be like 70. Exactly. So you're laying an extra $14 to win 50 on a Siwoo Kim. I think the way he's kind of been playing the last little while, we could potentially, he's been high up there. When he plays well, he plays well. He gets in closer to top 10, but I don't like the top 10 bet. You could miss out on that quite quickly if things go wrong. So Siwoo Kim, top 20 bet, minus 112 at DraftKings. I just exited out instead of clicking on the thing. Minus 112, I believe, right? Yeah. So there we go. Siwoo Kim. That's our second top 20 bet. If you want to use the Ricky Fowler Siwoo Kim parlay for 20%, you're going to be getting much nicer numbers. And I'm in that department. Sam Burns. Okay, Samuel. This is someone I'm kind of taking a fancy at. 56% top 20 rate. We've got 2 top 20s in the last 2 Quail Hollow appearances. One of them was the PGA top 19. Good there. We've got 4 top 21s in the last 5 starts. 3 of those were actual top 20s in the last 5. So recently, historically at this course, and over the last 12 months, he's at least doing this more often than not at a 56% clip. Sam Burns likely going to be in the same range as Siwoo Kim when it comes to top 20s, right? Wow, is right there. So we got to find our top 20 number. We're probably getting plus money with ties paid in full with Sam Burns, minus 102. Yeah, baby. So we'll do $51 to win our 50. Sam Burns. I feel like there's a solid situation in that department for Samuel. If you want to go read the comments from Jim, there's a better number for Siwoo somewhere else as well. If you kind of float on a river here and there. I don't mind that. We're going to get to Harris English here shortly, probably for a bit more of a floor play than an upside play. But Harris English will be discussed here promptly. So Sam Burns, friends, I think I'm in on this as well. Top 20s. I mean, the last 2 starts at this course, 4 of the last 5 have been really solid. He also tends to play hellish conditions for Sam Burns. He's 0.8 strokes better than his next best venue. So anytime things are over par, Sam Burns is in the mix. I don't like him for like a top 5 because none of these finishes we're seeing here are top 5s at this course or recently. We have a 7th, but that's only 1 top 10 in the last little while. Since the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Sam Burns only has 1 top 10, but he's got 3 top 20s, 4 top 21s. So I really fancy that. Sam Burns, 1 unit to win 1 unit. Top 20. Let's go. You can get that with the ties paid in full. Shop around as well. We also love betting at DraftKings because they sponsor the show. Use code FGD in that situation for first-time depositors. Robert McIntyre, I'm trusting the model ranking as well. Maybe we play Robbie Mac in DFS a little bit, depending on ownership. Hideki Wujimama, 54% top 20 rates. Only a 15% top 10 rate. Hideki Matsuyama missed the cut at Quail Hollow last year at the PGA Championship. He just doesn't play this golf course a lot. I don't see any track record for Hideki Matsuyama elsewhere at this venue. This is also the week before a PGA Championship. He usually probably takes those off, to miss the cut at the PGA Championship last year. So Hideki Matsuyama only has 1 top 20 in the last 5 starts, and it was a top 12 at the Masters. I think I'm going to pass on this. Unless we get like a really nice number, but I don't imagine we're going to probably have to scroll nowhere. He's the same as Sam Burns, but not nearly playing as well with not nearly as much course history as we want. I will say this, though, when it comes to Decky, at $8,800, you want somebody that's really, really good from 200 plus. Hideki Matsuyama is your mama. I like him a lot in these situations. He's pretty solid in hellish conditions. I think the strokes gained approach stuff, if we go take a look at Hideki's situation, is kind of interesting. if we're taking a look, we can take a look at the actual numbers this time round. Okay. So ball striking wise, fractionally off the tee, gains a bit there. From 200 plus, sensational. Gains a 10th of a stroke, almost 11th of a stroke when it comes to strokes gained from 200 plus out of the fairway. Hideki Matsuyama, sensational from that range. Then it comes down quite significantly from 150 to 200. It gets really bad once you start migrating to the wedge range for Hideki. Once you're playing strokes gained out of the fairway, he regresses significantly the closer you get to the hole until you get to like 50 to 100. But that's almost like pitchy woo-woo. See woo-woo. We got another woo in the field, by the way, as well. Woo let me down last week. But yeah, Hideki Matsuyama, the 6th best approach player from 200 plus, the 13th best from 150 to 200. So that makes a lot of sense. 62nd in the field in strokes gained off the tee. We want a good driver of the golf ball at this golf course. I'm out. Trying to make too much of a case for Hideki Matsuyama. Taking too long to kind of validate his case for a top 20 bet. Not happening this week. Ludwig Oberg at a 52% clip for top 20. What do you think Ludwig Oberg's top 20 number is going to be? We see him as a fair number, 13th in the model ranking. Only 52% of the time does he finish inside the top 20. I'd imagine Ludwig's like minus 120, minus 125 for a top 20. Let's take a look over here, stroll over to the top 20 market on draft. Yeah, minus 150. Ties paid in full for Ludwig Oberg. It's just not fair. The numbers aren't fair. Without ties, if you're looking for Ludwig, is minus 120. So that's kind of what we wanted from a ties paid in full perspective. But that can get dead heated. I don't like that. Now, I just did this with Siwoo Kim. Jesus, what am I really doing here? This is what goes through my brain when I'm trying to make bets. Is I see a wrap, I make a predetermined assumption, and now we are out here looking at Ludwig, who he doesn't grade out as nicely as Siwoo, so I'll give you that. And the fact that his number is longer than Siwoo's, or shorter than Siwoo's, sorry, is also a little off-putting. But Ludwig over the last little while, I think I might prefer him from a upside perspective, because what I typically try to do, and we'll go to the finish position tab over here, and you can see, okay, like let's do top 5 rates for this week. We just had that filtered there. So Ludwig shouldn't be popping up here quite quickly. He finishes inside the top 5 quite a lot, 22% of the time. That is the 9th best rate in this field, 10th best. If we go top 10 rate, how does he do? He starts sneaking up there. But if you go top 20 rate, you should find him dropping down the board. And you can also do this if you go over to the player summary situation. You can actually see this actually better. We can see how the guys do in the top 10s and stuff over here to the right-hand side. So finish rates over the last 12 months for Ludwig Oberg. I don't think he's won in the last 12 months. He's got the 10th most top 5s, the 9th most top 10s, the 11th most top 20s, and the 9th most top 40s. So there's no real leverage spot for him given his finish rates. But if you take a look at the finishing position rates for him, I typically like to see I don't like to see this. This is what I think of and then compare other golfers to. Is let's try and find someone that kind of makes sense. Like a Xander Schauffele profile is kind of the way you want to look at this situation. He finishes inside the top 5 at a 16% rate. If you double that for top 10s, you're getting to 37. 16 times 2 is 32. So it's pretty close to double. Your top 10 rate is going to be double your top 5 rate. Your top 20 rate, 37 times 2, what's that? 74. Does that 58% of the time. So it's tough when your top 10 rate is that high. Maybe here's a Sam. This is better. Sam Burns, top 5 rate, 12%. Top 10 rate, 28%. 12 times 2, 24. 28 times 2, 56. He finishes inside the top 20, 56% of the time. Then the top 20 to top 30 rates, you can't double 56, obviously. So that's how I kind of look at the top 5 to top 10 numbers. Then you can see, okay, who is finishing Here's the Ricky Fowler situation, right? We want to go to this top 20 number because if you halve the top 20 number, that's going to be 30%, which is basically his top 10 rate. Then if you halve the top 10 rate, he should be finishing inside the top 5 like 15 to 10% of the time. Not doing it. So that's how you kind of identify where to go to Ricky Fowler in the betting market when the odds are kind of projecting him, or the odds are also reflecting the lack of upside that he provides. So you can kind of take advantage of the safety that he provides in the top 20 market situation. If we were betting Tommy Fleetwood, given the fact that he's playing better, he's not. But if we were, then you can go, okay, Tommy Fleetwood is almost like a no-brainer top 5 bet and a top 10 bet, because particularly top 10, he's only finishing inside the top 10, 8% less than he is top 20. 58% top 20 rate, 50% top 10 rate. So if you're betting a Tommy Fleetwood top 20, you're kind of losing out on value because he's almost finishing inside the top 10 every time he's finishing top 20. You want to be betting Tommy Fleetwood that way. Hideki Matsuyama, you don't want to be betting him top 10 at all. Top 20 markets where you're going to be looking at. But again, the form right now is wishy-washy. Course history, the only time he's played here is missed the cut. That was Hideki Matsuyama's first missed cut in forever in a major. Hideki Matsuyama's miscut at the Quail Hollow PGA Championship in 2025 is his first miscut in a major since the 2019 Open Championship. Insane. Then you got to go back to the 2018 Open Championship and then the 2016 Open Championship. So in the last 10 years, Hideki Matsuyama's missed 4 cuts. 3 of them have come across the pond at the Open Championship. I guess the US Open as well. He missed a cut there, but you get what I'm saying. And then one of them on US soil was the PGA Championship last year. Incredible. So I think if there's a course history fade, we can argue it's this course for Hideki Matsuyama, despite really looking like a good venue for him. I think the fact that he can't drive the golf ball well enough around here is going to hurt him. So let's go. Let us go. Alrighty, there we go. Back to whatever the hell we were doing. We'll find out when we get there. We were looking at top 20s and Ludwig's situation. Maybe you want to look at Ludwig top 10. It's plus 200 basically, plus 194. And that's without the ties. Let's go to ties. Ties are nice. Over here on DraftKings. Ludwig, plus 162 for a top 10. It's fair. It's fair. He's also playing so well right now. Ludwig's had 4 top 5s in his last 5 starts. Very good. Very good golf. So I'm interested to see what Ludwig gets up to. He's playing very good golf. He doesn't grade out well, and I think it's got a lot to do with his long irons. He also doesn't play very good golf in hellish conditions. He's also been struggling with the putter lately. You know, the iron play for Ludwig has been a problem. What did we look up Ludwig on the iron play side of things? From 200 plus, he's nothing really. He hits a lot of couple good shots relative to his other rankings. But yeah, you're 200 and out from the fairway rankings for Ludwig. The best is 17th from a good shot rate when you're gaining over half a stroke on the field. Then from 150 to 200, you know, it's basically, you can see his good shots is like where he's at for him. Lots of good shot metrics here for Ludwig. So aggressive golfer. Bad shots, also one of his worst metrics, which kind of checks out. Only people like Scotty Scheffler have good shot and poor shot avoidance in the same rankings. Typically, the more aggressive you are to gain half a stroke on a single approach shot, you got to be aggressive. If you are aggressive and you misfire, you get penalized severely. These are PGA Tour venues. Sucker pins are out there. There's water near, like within 5 to 10 feet of a flagstick. You have to be sure of your game, and Ludwig seems to just fire away across the board and then hit some really bad shots along the way. So his iron play is struggling. A lot of it's got to do with the putting. His chipping is also pretty suspect. The putting has kind of gone backwards lately as well. So the course fit, not great. The recent form is fantastic. Sometimes the best bet you can make is the one you don't place. Make a bet on nothing versus something that you're not convicted in. And Ludwig is one of these situations. The course fit versus the form, it's tough. It's a tough situation for me. Again, good chance he contends this week. I like to be passive. I like to follow the model when I'm looking for those kind of things. While I'm saying follow the model, I'm going to completely go maniac here. And we're going to go to a guy that I'm curious about. His name's Max Homa. And if we're taking a look at Max Homa's situation, we've got a 9th at the Masters, and that's his only top 30 in the last 8 weeks. We've got a 8th place finish at Quail Hollow in 2023, an 8th place finish at Quail Hollow in 2024, and then he finished 60th at the PGA Championship where they played at Quail Hollow. So I'll give him a pass on the PGA side of things, but I fancy his chances. Now he's playing a lot better golf back in 2023, 2024 was a bit of a problem for him, right? So I'm going to actually quickly go over here for you and show you why I'm thinking of Max Homa in this way. If we're just looking for Max Homa for high upside finishes, we've got a 9th place at the Masters, which he's now done 3 times. 9th, 12th, and 3rd. His last 3 starts at the Masters have been fantastic. Got a 13th at the Cognizant. That's his only other top 20 this year. 2025, what do you notice over here if we go this range? We are looking at the Masters, a top 12. Easily his best finish during that stretch. PGA Championship, he finished 60th, whatever. John Deere Classic, I watched him kind of almost throw that tournament away. 2024, though, when he was playing quite poorly after the stretch at the Masters, he finished 8th at Wells Fargo. It was the Masters, he finished top 5, which is a top 10. Quail Hollow in 2024 at the Wells Fargo, he finished 8th, which is a top 10. Then we're going to go back through 2025. Like, where are the top 10s? The Masters finished 12th. Then his first top 10 came at the John Deere Classic. And then his next top 10 came at the Bank of Utah on the back end of the year of 2025. So the PGA Championship could have potentially been a Wells Fargo Truist type setup, and he might have played a bit better with it being non-major. There's a chance Max Homa plays well at this golf course again after a solid finish at the Masters. Look at this track record right now. It's been relatively poor. This golf course is the place. I think he even won at Quail back in the day, right? Did Maximus. Yes. So Max has got a 76th, a win, a miscut, an 8th, and a 60th at this venue in 6 starts. So there's upside here. I think a top 20 or something like that for Max is going to be what we're looking for. Let's float over to Max Homa. Yeah, he's plus 670 for a top 10. And I'm imagining he's probably like plus 250 for a top 20 with ties paid in full. Plus 2. I didn't look at this, I promise you. I just know what's going on. So plus 250 for Max. I like that for a top 20, ties paid in full. And then plus 670 for a top 10 for Max is something I'm in the mood for as well. If you're looking for that, you can go all the way down over here. He's like way down. Plus 670. So if you want to do a plus 670 to return, you can do 10 to win 67. That's over a unit, which is 0.2 units for me. And then if you want to do a top 20 to win a unit, you can do like $20 to win 50. So that's the situation. You're going to be dropping 0.6 units on Max Homa, but that would be to win 2 units if he top 10s. Do we want to just play it passive aggressive and leave the top 20 alone and kind of hope he top 10s, or do we like the top 20 number as well? Like plus 250 is very fair given the fact that he's finished inside the top 10 3 of the last 6 times he's played here. And one of the years he wasn't necessarily in the greatest form. So if you just sprinkle in a 10th of a unit, you can win 0.6. So do what you want to do in that department. Let's figure this out, though. We're placing bets. We're going through my process that I typically do. This is also like you inside the ADD head here today in a big way. Plus 250. I think we're going to do this. Take a little gamble on Maximus in our situation here. So let's do it. All right, we're in. So far we've added Siwoo Kim, and we also added somebody else, didn't we? I can't remember who that was. It was Sam Burns. We also added Sam Burns for a top 20 at plus 102, I think, with ties paid in full. So let's put that back up there. That's a decky. We want Sam. Okay, there we go. Better. So those are our bets we've made so far. Siwoo Kim minus 112 for a top 20. Max Homer plus 670 for a top 10. Max Homer plus 250 for a top 20. And then Sam Burns, we're going to him at minus 102 for a top 20 ties paid in full. All of these are ties paid in full except for Siwoo Kim at minus 112. What I also want to mention is Siwoo Kim at minus 138 to get to the minus 112. You want to take the first two numbers of a guy's odds and you times that by 3. So that's 33. Then you add the 33 to the minus 112. So that's what? Minus 155. Then you can compare that to your ties paid in full number. Siwoo Kim's. So basically you're taking the dead heat situation and you're making your own ties paid in full odds by timesing the first two numbers of the odds by 3 and then adding it to that number. That's the math. So you take the first two numbers of the odds, you times that by 3, you add that to the original odds, and then you can compare your Siwoo Kim minus 138 ties paid in full versus the Siwoo Kim minus top 20 without the ties paid in full, dead heats. And I feel like we've actually gone the wrong way here, to be honest with you. Now that I'm doing the math in my head, we probably should go to the ties paid in full and eat it. But we're being picky. If we land up getting dead heated over here, we're going to hate ourselves, right? So let's be disciplined. Let's be disciplined, people. So instead of betting the small number, we're going to lay some juice here. We're going to lay some juice. Okay, so we're about $70, 1.4 units on Siwoo Kim to win a unit. It is what it is. We are following our rules. I can't tell you the rules and then just completely ignore them. We're finding value. I think there's value to be had here. Again, we'll do some shopping. Can't do that, obviously, on the show. Presented to you by DraftKings. Use code FGD when signing up as a first-time depositor. See how my finger wants to just go to the Twitter account? That's just what keeps me super distracted all freaking day as well. Alrighty. Hideki, we out on Sepp Straka, kind of, he's one of these guys that you can see an interesting situation as well. His top 20 rate is double his top 5 rate. It should be double his top 10 rate. His top 10 rate is 35%. His top 20 rate is 50%. And the craziest thing with Sepp Straka is that floor is like ground zero, baby. It's like non-existent. Finishes inside the top 20 half the time, 50%. Finishes inside the top 40, 55% of the time. Only 5% more. So, like when Sepp Straka sucks it up, he sucks it up. He simultaneously, whenever he's finishing top 40, it's a top 20 for Sepp Straka. Just that's kind of how he goes, right? So you want to be playing Sepp Straka in like the upside situation. I love the fact that top 5s are almost the same as the top 10s. When you take a look here in 2024, Sepp Straka finished top 10 here. You got a top 5 at the Cadillac with a Hallelujah Sunday, and then an 8th at the Players. So we've got 2 top 10s in the last 5 starts for Sepp Straka, with the 13th at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Sepp Straka finds his best golf on hellish conditions. What the hell is Sepp Straka's top 10 number? I'm kind of fancying that for Seppi as like a little spike situation. Plus 120 for a top 20, though, right? That's top 20. We want a top 10 for Sep. Sep. Scroll. Plus 305. I like that. We can put like, what, $20 on that to win a unit? Just about. If we go 15. Nah. So we go 20 to win 0.8 units, 1.2 units. I like that. Sepp Straka top 10. Sepp Straka grades out as the 11th best option in the field. Inside the top 10, 35% of the time. What's plus 305? Like 33%. So kind of checks out. If you're doing that, we've got a top 10 year in 2024 and a most recent finish of a 4th at the Cadillac. So that's good to see. Is this where we're going? Sepp Straka plus 305. Top 10. Let's go. Tires paid in full. Not placing these. Going to do some shopping. See what numbers we can find out there as well. Back to what we were talking about here. Patrick Cantley is interesting to me because he's a 50% top 20 guy. Inside the top 20 half the time. But he's my stat fish of the week this week. I wanted to bet him top 20, but he's never finished top 20 here in the last 4 starts. It's 2 miscuts, a 21st and a 29th. Despite finishing inside the top 12 the last 3 starts, I'm not fancying Patrick Cantley that much. Ben Griffin is, if you're looking for lightning in a bottle, the convergence of 2 very small samples, we have an 8th place finish for Ben Griffin at the PGA Championship here last year and a 3rd place finish at the Cadillac. The Cadillac was a very similar kind of a course for this venue. Maybe not as much water this week, but definitely similar layout. Distance, imperative, long iron play also. And, you know, they're playing on that East Coast kind of thing with a lot of overseed this week, though, at Quail Hollow, where they played pure Bermuda at Doral. Bermuda Ben loves himself some Bermuda, but again, he's been struggling with, you know, his next best finish being a 28th at the Houston Open. Not ideal, but I love the fact that we got a 3rd place finish here at the Cadillac. Starting to find his groove. I really believe in this guy's long-term prospects. I like his long iron play a lot at a course like this. 19th in the model is not great, but he'll be a DFS play for me, for sure. Victor Hovland ranks 10th in the model. But now we get into top 20s that are less than. But a Christopher Wright in top 20 that's less than might be appealing to me. Might be appealing to me. Are we right or wrong when it comes to Christopher Wrighton being what? Like plus 250 maybe for a top 20? Plus 225. Tars put in full. Okay. I mean, Wrighton is now, we've seen 2 finishes from him in the last 3 starts. Valero, he finished 10th. 14th at the Cadillac, and his debut at the Masters, he made the cut and finished 41st. So he's playing good golf lately. Started off the year a little rough. DP World Tour rookie. You got to find your feet. If you go listen to the interview that Thomas Peters made, he does not love living in the United States. That's why he went to live. Along with the millions of dollars they forced down his throat to come over there. But that's neither here nor there. It takes a while to acclimatize yourself. Ask Robert McIntyre. Struggled when he came over, I think, and then found his groove a bit, I think. I can't remember. But Christopher Wrighton starting to find his groove. 42nd in model ranking. How does he look when it comes to course ranking? 58th. Hellish conditions he plays nicely in. I don't know. You know, I don't want to force a Christopher Wrighton top 20 bet down our throats here either, because I like him. I'm probably going to play him in DFS. I think that's a very proper way to play him. And I think that's going to be it for me. So our bets for this week that we just placed on the show. Max Homer, top 10, plus 670. Max Homer, top 20, plus 250. Sam Burns, top 20, minus 102. Siwoo Kim, top 20, minus 140. Sepp Straka, top 10, plus 305. I don't know if I like that bet. I don't know if I like that Sepp Straka bet, friends. Where do we have Sepp 11th? You know what? We're going to go with it. Plus 300 is fine. You know, we're only risking 0.4 units over here to win 1.2. Let's 1.2. Let's get it. All right. Beautiful. As always, friends, go check out DraftKings. You know, there's a couple boosts up there. You can get a plus 400 surge on the first round leader. Let's actually finish that. Go over to the course strokes gained again and see who we fancy spike-wise. I mean, obviously Rory, but he's never gained more than 4 strokes, which sounds insane to say, on a Thursday at Quail Hollow. All of his big scoring comes like afterwards. You know, the 7.2 in 2024 he gained in, and the 5.8 in 2024 he gained over the weekend. I mean, he just ran away with it that week. In 2021, when he won that one, I think he gained, you know, the 6.9 strokes on Friday. So maybe Rory as like a round leader type bet once he's like sitting 12th after round 1. You know, it's been interesting. Am I being way too cute here? I don't know. With Rory, let's take a look. Has anyone like fired? Like Xander Schauffele seems to come out the gates hot to trot. The last 2 times he's played, yeah. If we go over to DraftKings, and I like the fact that we can get the end of round leader for Xander at 19-1. The shorter these odds are, the bigger the plus 400 boost is to your bet. Because when, let's just make Rory McIlroy 10-1 at plus 1,000. If you add 400 onto that, it's 40% of his original odds. If you add, let's make Xander 20. If you add 400 to that, it's only 20% of his original odds. So you're getting the boost of 20%. If you're adding plus 400 onto Jonathan Vegas at plus 105, it's like a 4% add. Is it? Might even, yeah, like, so you're really looking to kind of take advantage of that boost. You can go to like a Xander Schauffele, get that to plus 2,300 for a first round leader. How does Xander typically, I mean, he's been in the last 2 instances that weren't the PGA Championship, he's gained 5.7 and 7 strokes in round 1 at Quail. What does his split look like for round 1, round 2? I'd imagine he's a slow starter. He gains 1.4 strokes in round 1. He gains 1.8 and 1.8 in rounds 2 and 3, though. You know, like, use the boosts how you need. You know, I feel like if I was going to apply that boost to something, it would be a Xander Schauffele round 1 leader. What does Fitz get up to in round 1? 1.6, but he's also much better in round 2. I think Rory checks Ricky, round 1 Ricky. Ricky. I don't know. 38-1, but then it's only 42. It is what it is. Maybe you don't get too caught up in that. Kurt Kitayama, first round leader, says Brad Hopp. I don't mind Kurt Kitayama at all. Like we spoke about his solid approach play earlier. 41-1. You don't have to use the boost on that. You know, I think you could probably grab that on your own. So what does Kurt Kitayama's splits look like? Yeah, he's okay. Nothing crazy. But I like our Johnny Vegas first round leader situation there. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining me this fine, beautiful day on Tuesday. Let's have a great Truist Championship. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the truest of them all? We will find out. Hopefully it's Matt Fitzpatrick or Xander Schauffele. If not, Rory McIlroy in one and done would be ideal. Let's get a couple of these placements home. Ricky Fowler, Siwoo Kim, Sam Burns, some big boy names coming home to roost in Quail. Next week's the PGA Championship. Back 9 Bets YouTube channel will have previews for players. I'm going to deep dive. I may deep dive everybody in the PGA Championship that's not playing this week. Jim Cummings, the one and done first round leader king, says Xander was first round leader in 2024. Exactly. So if you're going to be playing that plus 400 boost on DraftKings, probably put on Xander Schauffele at 19-1. Let's have a good week, friends. Love you all. It's the Quail PJ Championship next week. As I said, lots of content on Back Nine Bets YouTube channel for the preview there. We'll be doing Fantasy Golf Degenerates on Sunday morning, so that should come out soon. And then we'll be doing Back Nine Bets on Tuesday, same time, all the time. I'll find a guest for us for the PJ Championship. May do a couple more guests going forward as well. I'm getting kind of bored of myself, speaking to myself. So love you all. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Check out the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code Quail26 for 50% off over there. We'll catch you guys all next week.